Hello viewers. Well, recently I caught up with Ben Green from Ben Green Racing. He took me for a few laps around Brands Hatch, great fun, and I asked him a bit about what he's been up to this past couple of years in terms of racing and what he's going to be competing in the upcoming season. I have to admit, when I was conducting this interview, we jumped out of the car and I felt, I don't know how he does it all day, honestly, I felt dazed after just a few laps, but let's just see what he had to say. Hello viewers, well back at Brands Hatch today. I've just been out for a bit of a track day with Ben here, Ben Green Racing. And Ben, good to see you again. Thanks for the ride, we'll talk about that in a moment, but what have you been up to these last couple of years? We've had COVID last year. Tell me about some of the racing activity you've been up to.
Well, good to see you again, Alan. Nice to catch up and obviously, go for a quick hot ride around the track. It's been obviously a weird year for everyone with the lockdowns and everything, with COVID last year. We're kind of seeing the end of that now, aren't we? It's getting back to normal life. It's good. Racing last year, I was racing in Germany in the DTM Trophy Championship in BMW M4 GT4, which is actually what I was racing the last time you saw me at Brands Hatch in 2018. It's been exciting. It was an exciting year last year. I finished fourth overall, was challenging with the top two, top three the whole season and the champion as well. So was really in the mix the whole season. Just a couple of things didn't go my way. So I'm looking forward to going back there this year now with the same team, same car, and with the objective of winning the whole championship. That's the plan.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, it's been a learning experience every year, you know, working your way up from the Ginettas into these new cars, getting your setups right, communicating with your mechanics and maximising it. And you had new circuits to learn as well.
Yes, and new tracks. Every track was new to me last year, apart from Spa, which is the first one, and I actually won a race there. So, it was a learning curve with the tracks, but personally I felt pretty comfy. I had quite a few front row qualifyings, so I was pretty happy with that.
Did COVID change the atmosphere? There's no crowds, anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I kind of just focus on what I'm doing, really. I'm not really looking in the audience, in the stands. Obviously, you kind of notice it when you're off the track and away from it. It's just a bit of a ghost town, really. But when you're actually on the track, get on with it, really. It's kind of almost like a tunnel vision, really.
Now, you mentioned new circuits. Obviously, we've talked a lot in racing games, Assetto Corsa, stuff like that. Do you find that sim racing has been helping you even with the new circuits and learning some of those circuits?
Massively, yes. I think sim racing really came around because people wanted to learn tracks in advance of going to them, and then obviously with all the lockdowns, sim racing just blew up. Everyone wanted to go racing because they couldn't actually go racing in real life. So then you got a lot of sim racers rather than people just learning tracks. I've always used it to learn tracks. I always do loads of preparation on the simulator before I go to the track to make sure I know exactly where I'm going. I've got all my references, and simulators are really accurate nowadays. The companies invest a lot of time and money in getting the track models basically as close to real life as they can.
What do you use as your base software then for your simulators?
Well, I think I need to get paid to say that. Assetto Corsa, obviously, as mentioned before, Competizione and the standard one as well. Obviously, you can modify the standard one quite a bit, get some new tracks, new cars on there as well. So it's quite open source, which is good for me going to tracks that maybe they haven't scanned when they made the game. Assetto Corsa Competizione is great as well because it's got a wet model, a really good wet tyre model, which a lot of games don't have. So that's a real unique feature. And then iRacing as well. Obviously, iRacing was really big over the lockdown. Everyone was using it. I was already a keen iRacer myself, and then it just got bigger and bigger over the lockdowns.
It's great that you've got that tool available to you, and like you say, when you go to those circuits, you have a certain familiarity to them. Is there ever any quirks where, like, sometimes gamers have different lines to the real cars? Is there ever any quirks where you feel, do you know, I tried it in the game and it was quicker, and I tried it in real life, it was quicker as well? Has there ever been anything like that?
Oh, it's tricky to say. Yeah, I think you definitely do learn stuff in the game, definitely, because otherwise, why would you do it? You know. I can't think of one off the top of my head. But
I do find sometimes like use of curbs on the games. You really do go out wide on some corners and slingshot into the corners, perhaps more aggressively. You might damage your tyres in real life, so that's why you don't do it. Or maybe it's just a bit uncomfortable for the old back, you know, that kind of thing.
I can think of some examples. So in certain games where the designers lay the rubber for the racing line, and also in iRacing where people put down rubber and the rubbered line is set, where there's more grip, that might be different to where it is in real life. So it may be faster to drive on the wrong line compared to real life in the sim. You definitely get that. So yeah, definitely.
Now we're at Brands. We've taken us out in this car. Tell us a bit about this car briefly, and just your own experience of Brands. I mean, you're saying you've done thousands of laps here. Is it always great fun when you go out there? Do you still enjoy it every lap?
Yeah, so this is my Xenos E10S. It's a 2-litre turbocharged 4-cylinder Ford EcoBoost with a very light car strapped to it. So it's a 700 kilo car, all in, everything, engine, chassis, everything you need. Very raw to drive, no power steering, no ABS brakes, no servo assistance on the brakes, no traction control. So yeah, it's real raw driving, manual as well, and it's left-hand drive for good measure. So yeah, it's a very raw experience for driving, but I really love it. You know, it feels like a big go-kart really, which is perfect for track use.
It did actually have that feel to it. You feel everything. You're so low to the ground. You're really feeling it. It's great riding the curbs. You were stepping the rear end out, but keeping good control, and just enjoyed every minute of it. So it's always, for me, it's always fun you play these tracks. I've done thousands, tens of thousands of laps in the games, but just coming here, it always feels like a fresh experience and a privilege. For you racing now, tell me a bit about what you're going on to next. The DTM series, which is DTM Trophy. Tell me a bit about that series for viewers who might not be aware of it, and where perhaps people can see you racing and when you're racing.
So the season starts the end of June, so June 18th at Monza. So although it's a DTM, so German Touring Masters Championship, actually races a bit more in Europe as well. So the first round is in Italy. Later in the year we go to Red Bull Ring, obviously in Austria, and then Assen in the Netherlands. The other tracks are all in Germany. So the race is actually streamed live on Sport 1, which is a German channel, a German sports channel, and also on YouTube for everyone else around the world to watch it live.
Excellent. Well, I guess I should say hopes for the season, but you say you're in it to win it this year. You've brought a lot of components together, and I guess you've got a good bond with your mechanics and your team that's developed as well. In terms of circuits, finally, what circuits are you most looking forward to racing this year? What would you say is the race where I love that circuit?
Well, probably the ones I haven't driven actually, because they're new, they're exciting. So the ones I just mentioned, Monza, Red Bull Ring, Assen, they're brand new tracks for me. I've driven all the other ones. So we've got Nürburgring, Hockenheim, Lausitz Ring, and Norris Ring, which I haven't driven actually. It's a street circuit in Nuremberg. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that actually. That's going to be cool. First street circuit race. But yeah, we'll see.
Great. Well, exciting times, Ben. Thanks very much for your time today. I really appreciate it, and best of luck for the future.
Thank you.
That was great fun. I have to admit, those laps with Ben it's always a privilege, and I wish I could take those laps. My body is just not in a good position for these high-speed laps these days, but I always appreciate going to the racetrack. And it's funny, when you first get taken out in a race car, I remember the surge of acceleration and the feeling of just going around. It was almost too much to take in. And now when I get taken out like this, or I go to a racetrack, I find myself looking a lot more at the details, looking at the tarmac, the rumble strips, the input from the driver. I spent a lot of time looking at Ben's input on the wheel and what he was doing, and really understanding it and really feeling the car and how he was driving it. And it was great fun to see how he used the racetrack, and it really was using every ounce of the track. It really shows how the drivers go as wide as they can and really always maximize that line. The rear end standing out a few times as well. Lots of correction needed by the driver. Fantastic experience, but great to catch up with Ben. And again, he'll be racing, and we look forward to seeing how he gets on as well at those new circuits. A great privilege. But that's it from me for now. I hope you enjoyed this little interview, and hopefully we'll see Ben on the channel at some point for a bit of a catch up and perhaps look at some of the new racing games as well. Always good to get his input. We do have a busy time ahead, lots of racing games on the way. But that's it from me for now. As ever, more soon. Hello viewers, well thanks for watching the video today. Do like and subscribe, it supports what we do. Do become a YouTube member. YouTube Patreon supports all of our content you see on the channel, and of course lots of gaming from retro to modern games. I love it all in terms of racing action. So click on one of the two videos just there to find out more.